The legendary warrior went straight into the arena meta as expected, but also last week I already scored top 100 with Erina in my Colosseum with that camel, yet she's just a delight. You can check the footage at the end of the video. Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is NATOJI and today this is your Monday Guardian Tales video. This is a hero guide for Erina and let's get started. By the way, if you like those guides, please feel free to smash that like button and share it with your friend. You can subscribe also, it would be very encouraging. Now let's get started with the cards. Here, number one, attack percent and defense percent. Overall, this is what you want to use. And for PvP, some players are using the 100% injury damage negated card here. This is an option because most of the meta are using the injury damage. As you can see, she can resist it. She can resist status ailment, but only for 4 seconds. So that gives you an extra layer of defense. However, personally, I tried it and I prefer to run defense and attack percent. It worked just fine. After quickly for the weapon, this is the exclusive weapon here, but a lot of you every time in those videos, those guides ask me what can I use as a substitute weapon. Well, anything first, which is down state and basic attack, and there is just one which I believe should come when you summon her for free. They always come with a weapon, and this is a fantasy sword. Overall, this is a basic attack and it respects the down state. So here it has also HP, skill damage and weapon skill regen speed, so a pretty good substitute. Next are the accessories. First, the gold pocket watch for any F2P. Once again, a pretty good investment. It has some nice weapon skill regen speed. I must mention also the grid earring does not have weapon skill regen speed, but a decent skill damage plus 15%. You have sub option defense plus 6%, some attack percent and HP percent, so it's a very good option. After we do have also as well the wedding ring of earth. So here, skill damage, weapon skill regen speed plus 10%, attack plus 8%. You have some decent 138 of death once again. And finally, for the unique accessories, I will recommend the ring of fortress as well because it has the strongest defense base here, 150 of death, damage reduction 35. This does not apply in PvP. Only in PvE, but however, if you limit break it, you have an additional defense plus 7% on the top of the sub option where you can get HP plus 10% and defense plus 8%. A quick mention for PvP here. Once again, injury damage, we spoke about it, 50% negated. This is something you can consider, but however, the amethysty ring here has such a low defense, it won't be optimal in my opinion. Now for the legendary accessories, first there will be the honor ring, pretty strong, 145 of death here. You can see by yourself, attack plus 12%, you have some HP. If you limit break it, you have defense plus 7%, and you can get one ability granted, hopefully the defense plus 6%, but I will prefer here the ring of belief, 143, so as much of defense here. You have critical chance 2%, some attack 10%, and you can get 3 ability granted, HP, skill damage and defense plus 5%. And finally, for the epic accessories, not to be introduced anymore, we spoke about it for a year on every single guide. This is the earth necklace, which become more and more relevant nowadays because there are a lot of units for the DPS which came with defense decrease as a debuff, and here you can negate it 100%. So this is actually the best for PvP you can find, but you must be very lucky on the pool. In 1 year I just had 2 pieces, just 2 pieces of it, but if you have it, please go for it, and hopefully in the abilities granted you can get the HP plus 10% and the attack plus 10%. Next, I would like to mention, if like me you just have one of these of the earth necklace, I'm using some time here the martyr mirror necklace. Once again, you must be pretty lucky. I just have a piece of it, but you can get also that ability granted. I have mine, defense decrease 100% negated, and because I'm using Erina with FP a lot, sometimes I have to make a choice, so from time to time I can use it as a substitute and it will just work fine, but this is far from being as good as the earth necklace or the other one I'm going to show you. Now there is also the matte panda, so this you can can get it in the Amazon shop with your battle medals. Overall, this is pretty good. Please note that damage reduction is only for PvE. This does not apply in PvP, so it's kind of useless here, but overall you have 4 ability granted here: HP, skill damage, attack, and also shield increase on battle of start. It has a very strong defense plus 12% in main option and excellent 163 Mad Panda, so it will work very well across all your content. And finally here, the mirror earring. So this is mid endgame because you must unlock the mirror rift and farm those. It's an investment in terms of stamina, but you can buy this in the Amazon and you can limit break them, and much faster than, for example, this, the Mad Panda, in which battle medals, it takes a long time before to get enough battle medals to get, 5 pieces of everything. But anyway, this is my main to go when I play in Colosseum with Future Princess. I put Earth Necklace, I will explain why. So this is actually a pretty good option here. As you can see, it has some basic attack plus 15%. Once you limit break it, you want it limit break, you have defense plus 7% and up to 4 ability granted. Hopefully you have HP, you have that nice defense plus 10%, skill damage and weapon skill regen speed plus 12%. Now let's talk about the shield. F2P beginners here. You have the Wyvern shield, pretty decent here. You can get defense plus 10% in the main option, 230 of def. After we have here also the mirror shield. Once again pretty good because this one has weapon skill regen speed. So I like this one because you have 2 ability granted. Also you can still get HP plus 10% and defense plus 8%. So a pretty good option, especially for PvE because you have a little bit of damage reduction also as well. Here a quick mention for the tanker shield. As you can see, it has also defense plus 10% in the sub option. And finally the knight shield also as well, 221 of def and defense plus 10% in the sub option. Now when it comes to the legendary, I will just mention one very quickly. It's the angel shield here because 232 of defense, skill damage, and you can get in the sub option HP plus 12% and defense plus 8%. And finally here for the farmable or obtainable via the shop, first we will speak about the legend. This is the Minotaur shield. Here the stronger def in the game, 246. It's a beauty, really. This is what I've been using on her. This is perfect for any tank really. HP plus 14% and you have 3 ability granted. You can get defense 8%, weapon skill regen speed 6% and skill damage plus 10%. Now I must mention absolutely the mirror shield. I'm grinding mine for the basic attack, so this can be of use really if you run double tank like Future Princess, and also or if you run Toxia, Noxia, another HP leader in your party with Erina, you can consider this to give her a little bit more of offensive stat even in PvP. So this is really to balance a little bit more on the offensive side if you already have a very strong tanky party. And here we finish with the 2 million golds shields. Those really, harm your wallet. Anyway, here we have the advanced shield, so a pretty nice option. You can see they have some decent 234 def. I'm not gonna, you can read for yourself, but 3 ability granted, HP 10%, defense 8%, and weapon skill regen speed 8%. So a very valuable option. But if you are F2P, I do not advise you to crack 2 million of gold just for a shield. Once again, you are going to need to buy 5 more to crack it, to limit break it. It's gonna cost you way too much million of your golds, which are better to be invested somewhere else. Now for the merc, it will depend from the team composition. We are going to speak about it later. You can have some offensive team composition type of setup or defensive, but let's get started here. First, Idol Eva. This is the one I've been using all around. This is well-rounded for whatever the content. You have some nice defense 9%, you have some HP plus 3%, and still that attack plus 20%, elemental basic attack. After you can consider also the Meryl Cushion. This is more offensive. It has a nice attack plus 12% and skill damage plus 35%. She can deal quite of a good amount of it, so this is also valuable. And finally, for the unique merc, there are several which are okay to use. For example, you can go here with some high HP and plus 15% of shield increase on battle of start, the smiley face cushion if you want to. You can also pick the Ice Witch t-shirt because it's great. She deals some extra melee damage on it, 25% of DPS once every 2 seconds, and it has plus 6% of defense and some attack as well. Overall, this is also an ultimate, a great great merc here for the tank. As you can see, you have some good 9% of death, HP 6%, and you decrease the damage taken by 15% of increased skill damage. So this is valuable also as well. But finally here, something much more offensive if you want to build her all rounder to make her really try to 1 vs 3, the sample statue of bravery. If you put her first position, for example in arena, you will come first. So here it increases the damage by 20% to enemy with HP more than 40%. So this is nice if you set her up number 1 first if you want to. And also for the Colosseum, it can be of use if you use with double tank like the Colosseum team I'm going to show you at the end of the video. And on the other side, if you play her on the second position and you have a strong DPS like Lilith or Meryl at first, for example in arena, so you know you are going to deal some damage, and when the opponent comes to the field, it will get potentially HP less than 60%. You can also consider the Invader Mothership with his attack plus 12%. Now before to get into the team composition, let's speak about the gameplay here. Few mechanics. Number 1, she can deal some range damage as you can see here on the first and on the last attack. And this is important to note because on some map with elements, she can actually deal across, as you can see here, elements, and for the last one also as well, it has a pretty decent range. And also that means that you can pair, for example, a range attack buffer in the party. She will benefit from this because as you can see, the first attack, it's a kind of AoE, it gets across other enemies, so for Colosseum or for PvE. And if you have a range dealer, this will increase the first and the last damage, which is actually the last one also, if you can see here, deal most of it. Anyway, after the second mechanic you must know is the shield bash. So that weapon skill just here, it has a pretty decent range as you can see, but overall when you press it, you are activating two things. The first one, the special ability. You are increasing your defense by 30% for 4 seconds. And the second one is the weapon skill. You are increasing your attack by 25% for 4 seconds as well. So my meaning here is if you main with her, what you want to do before to deal damage or when you get in contact with any enemy or opponent in arena, you want to trigger first the shield and then attack, because at that point for 4 seconds you have 25% plus of attack and 30% plus of defense, and you can more safely get closer to your opponent and deal your big chain skill. Now my last tip for you is do not forget that the shield itself here, that weapon skill here, has 8-second cooldown and your buff just lasts 4 seconds. So to reactivate just the defense, if your opponent is chasing you down, you just one hit them, and just on it the special ability trigger on it. So it can be a normal attack, it can be also a chain skill in between if you want to, but do not forget that once you activate shield first and you start to attack your opponent, you have 4 seconds of full buff. So don't forget to give some attack in between to reactivate always your defense buff. And finally, I'm pretty excited about the team composition here before to show you some footage, some video of last week where I managed to get into the top 100 in both arena, of course, and the Colosseum most importantly. So here is just one of the team I've been using: Future Princess, Erina, Zoe, and Toxia. Now, if you don't have, for example, here the Noxia or the Erina, there is another choice here which is fantastic, is with the ultimate god of Colosseum, which is Idol Eva and the Future Knight. It works also pretty well. Now I have seen also some team just for fun you can play. You can put, for example, your Gabriel here with your MK99 or Gabriel with Noxia. All of this is pretty viable. Now what we have seen with the arrival of Kamel, once again here, if we look at the skill, she can deal some ranged damage. We explained during the gameplay, the first hit, the last hit are the one which deal most of the damage also as well during the rotation of the normal attack. So if you put a range attacker, it will actually benefit also as well, Erina. And this actually will be the only moment where we start to see some solo tank with that Future Princess in the team, but this is really high-end, I would say, grinder and wells, because you need to be really built skilled up to the maximum. So the team which will totally rock once Kamel is out is this one: Erina, Noxia, Mia and Kamel. The strength here, really one of the key heroes, it's also Mia. She has been forgotten for so long. She is a top tier also in the Colosseum as a support unit because she removes negative effect on the normal attack and also on the chain skill. Now we've seen that Kamel is able to do it on the chain skill as well, which makes Erina an absolute berserk, because then she's not susceptible to that defense decrease, which can melt her down pretty quickly if there is any Nari or other hero like Ogma who can deal on the chain skill and decrease the defense. So this will be one of the team you can watch out when Kamel will come to global. Now for Erina, there are three types of party member combination you want in that team. Number one of the most used and the safest for early on in the game is to bring her with a HP or defense leader, hashtag future princess or Ogma or Noxia if you want to, and another melee attack party buffer, hashtag here Lilith, but you can put Lin, Scintilla, up to you. So this is one of the combination you can think of. Actually this one is probably one of the best because you have three different type of elements. Now there is also the double melee attacker buddies. So here for example you can add up another melee attacker, so Erina with two melee attack party buffer, and here once again you can put Lin, Scintilla, you can put Beth in the mix depending who you have. But for this thing to be really viable, I really recommend it's more end game, because you need really to have some good limit broken or to be a very skillful player in order to compete if you are looking to get into the ladder. And finally, one team which works fantastically well here, it has been also with Noxia and also with Meryl here, which add that critical buff, because actually Erina can deal some pretty decent damage. And for the upcoming meta, I will say with Kamel, here you just replace, if you want to, for example, Meryl with Kamel, and it will be a fantastic team because he's a range attacker. Once again, it benefits here Erina, and I will do another ultimate guide later on about Kamel, but this will be an absolute delight as a team if you want to play both Kamel and Erina in the same team. If you have Noxia, this is going to be all in. And finally here for the F2P beginners, a team for your early PvE progression if you want to, because if you started the game, you have Erina, you have the Knight, and you must be grinding the basic elemental dungeons. So you can bring Erina, Rampang, Knight, and Ami, which is a melee party buffer. Melee attack percent here will work pretty well. If you are struggling on some stages, you can use the wonderful Lauren, especially if you have her exclusive weapon, which increases the range of heal by 50% on the normal attack, and she is really fantastic since she got this weapon. And I'm going to let you with a couple of footage from last week in the top 100 just for fun in the arena here with Lilith and Future Princess, and also in the Colosseum. And as usual, if you like the video, please feel free to destroy that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and turning on the notification, hit that bell, it will be very encouraging. And as usual, I wish you all to be safe, to be well, and until the next, stay tuned.